I am a fool. That is one thing for certain. Happy. What's today? Wednesday? So, I had a really weird dream this morning, and I'm going to explain it. Uh, I don't know how long this video is going to be. We'll pull cards later. But I'm going to explain it after I tell you about this dream I had. I intuitively felt like I needed to take a little bit more rest this morning, so I slept for another half hour after I normally do. I think I woke up around 5 or 6, and then I slept for another half hour. And that half hour of sleep had me in a dream, and I've had similar dreams like this where I was in a really dimly lit room that was just filled with spiders. Right, spider webs everywhere. Some of the spiders were bigger and smaller than other ones. And I kept looking around, and all the spiders would run for me. Right, they're all watching me. All the spiders are watching me. And the thing that's really interesting about spiders is, spiders don't work together. They're not team players, right? They all have their own little webs, and then the bigger spiders eat the smaller spiders, right? But they're all watching me because they were all, and they kept running from me. They didn't want to deal with me at all. And at the end of the dream, I felt something around my back, and I turned around. It was a giant, just a vampire bat. And I had my shirt. I grabbed my shirt, and I grabbed that sucker, and it was like staring at me. I had its wings all kind of folded up my shirt. And then I had that sleep paralysis, when you're first waking up, and it feels like you can't move. Where I was just trying to pull my shirt up and pull this vampire bat and take it away. But yeah, it was just a very vivid dream. So I'm going to tell you how that kind of corresponds to what I've been doing over the last year and a half, right? So if any of you decide, okay, now this channel, my YouTube channel, is called I Am the Fool. And I wrote a little snippet about I Am the Fool, last October. I think it was last October. So I Am the Fool basically says, that the Fool card, I could look up the Fool card and show you here real quick, but if you look up the Fool card, it just shows some young, naive man with a shirt of growth. It shows growth on it, but it's tattered, right? It's all torn up. And he's got a white rose in his hand, and he's taking a leap of faith, and he's got a little dog next to him. Well, if you jump out and decide that you are going to love the world and, serve it at the same time, be prepared. Because, for one thing, most people don't like change. Now, all of it, you cannot prevent change. The only thing that never changes is that nothing ever stays the same. That saying will go on and on and on, and it's true. Everything changes. If you look around us, rivers change, the trees around you change, everything changes. Nothing ever stays the same. And so if you are an innovator, if you are an instrument of change, and the reason you become an innovator, an instrument of change, is because you are trying to serve the people around you, and you do that by listening to what's needed, right? Sometimes it's through meditation, and I did this through a lot of long-term meditations that I had before I quit my job. So if you're doing that, you are going to learn about yourself. The whole time you are actually changing yourself. You're not really changing. The world around you is mirror imaging what you're going through internally. And as you change, you start to attract different things, and it forces you to, one thing, it forces you to transmute negative energy. Because since the people around you don't want to change, they're thinking negatively about you a lot of the times, not all the time. Right? There's some people that are supportive, right? There's a lot of people that have gone through a certain process in their family. You'll find certain family members that are really supportive. Even people in your business community will be supportive. But, the vast majority, unfortunately, don't want to change. It's hard. It's a resistance. So you're going to trigger about everybody around you, especially when you make sure that you follow the key to this is following your intent to love everybody unconditionally. Because the fact is that all of us are just growing. There isn't one of us that is better than the other, right? We're all just choosing to grow or not grow, and a weed, lives off of another plant, whereas the plant is growing and the weed is sucking off of that plant. It's kind of, Jesus' parable in the Bible is very accurate, right? Weeds and scooping weeds out, because unfortunately, sometimes you have to learn that you're sucking off of somebody else to realize that and become self-aware enough to really grow yourself, right? You have to learn how to be self-sufficient, right? And learn how to exchange energy and support your environment. So you'll be surrounded by spiders, people that are watching you, and they're looking out for themselves, and they're eating at smaller spiders, and some of the bigger spiders are going to be really mad at you. They're not going to say anything, they're not going to attack you, but you wouldn't want to attack them either, right? You're not trying to attack anybody, you're trying to serve everybody. And so what you're doing is transmitting negative energy. Because especially, I've been, I hate to use the word psychic, but, it's when you're very empathic and you're very sensitive to the world around you, it's hard to differentiate between the feelings that you're feeling and the people around you, what they're feeling. And so in order to do that and self-heal and become into a deeper understanding of yourself, you really have to take some time alone and self-evaluate and self-heal and heal those traumas, and maybe they're childhood traumas, generational traumas. And once you can do that, you become a lot more sensitive to the energies that are coming at you, right? And then it becomes a lot easier. Your discernment gets a lot higher. It's much easier to discern what other people are feeling, how you're impacting people by what you say. Every word that you say is going to have an impact. I mean, I made a post yesterday on LinkedIn that was, borderline confrontational, right? So I wrote this post. It says, because I've been starting a project where it allows everybody to equally work together in a group environment where positions don't change the wage model, and it's all profit-based. So basically, I could go to work with a group of you, and all of us would be making the same amount of money as long as we're, good at our positions. The only thing that changes in the business is time. So let's say you wanted to start a new position, and it would take longer for just to mature in that position, right? So, which is fine. Everybody would enjoy working with each other that way, because there's nobody's fighting over a certain position, right? We're all making the same amount of money. It's like a co-op, and it's decentralized in its decision making. That's one problem, that we see. Centralized decision making causes so many conflicts, because you're always having to turn to somebody else to make a major decision. Where if we're all making decisions as a whole, then it's much more. You can call it democratic, but it's a little bit different than that. I won't go into it. The main theme here is that learning how to control your energy. And so you have to overcome fears, because for one thing, since nobody's helping you, people are taking care of their own business, and sometimes you can't blame them, right? Some people are they're doing their own job. They're busy, and they say, oh, this person's doing this. This is really interesting. Wow, that's really innovative. But I don't really have time to help that person right now, right? Even if they're calling for help. So I'm constantly out there, help me, I'd love to have you with this project and help me, make this thing grow so we can, create these healthy communities, right? We all want to have a healthy community and healthy relationships. But nobody's helping. And after a while, it's like, well, okay. So I made a post. It's like, I've met a lot of people, and people always say, it's like, wow, that's a really great idea. That's exactly what we need. But then I would never hear from these people again, right? All I need is an attorney to help finish this agreement, and maybe I'll just, work on the agreement myself and make sure it's as bulletproof as possible, and just use it to create some contracts for some employees, and then we can amend it, once we get an attorney. Who knows? Maybe. So that's another thing, is when you finally get to a place where you're not in fear, and you're learning to transmute all those negative energies, and you've healed enough times, you finally get to a state where you're just like, oh, you just allow the divine to just kind of do its work. Because as long as you're walking step in step with your higher self, it's always showing you what to do. And I didn't even make that post yesterday. I was instructed to make that post. I mean, it popped up in my mind, and then I had a confirmation, like 2 or 3 different confirmations. It's like, okay, it's time for this post. Because I'm really passionate about the project. And I am not intentionally trying to trigger anybody, but that's the effect it's having in everybody around me. It's triggering, especially the business community. It's triggering that business community, because everyone realizes that the only thing that's keeping our society from growing in a healthy way is our ability to work with each other. There's more and more people that are leaving their jobs, and everything's become more fractionalized. So, yeah. And on the flip side of that, I would see that there's actually almost more benefit in just leaving your job. And I'm not telling any of you guys to leave your job and go do, what I did, but it makes you realize how well you're supported when you're just your intent is to serve the people around you and love people around you unconditionally. You'll always be supported, because everyone knows where your heart's at. You're trying to do the best thing for the people around you that you can possibly do. So let's draw some cards. Let's do that. The vampire bat. If you guys know me personally, tell me who you think the vampire bat is in the comments. If you think that we've got a vampire bat in the community trying to suck the life out of me, I can't think of anybody that would do that. But I mean, there are people that live off of other people's energy for a living. It happens. If you're not creating anything, you can support people, and there's a lot of coaching jobs where you're actually supporting people. But there are some entities, and a lot of times people don't even realize there's an entity attached to them that's putting them in situations where they're drawing other people's energy on purpose. So I'm not insinuating. I have no idea who it is. I'm not trying to tell you that I know who it is. I'm just saying, and maybe it's not a person. Maybe it's it's symbolic of a group consciousness that's pulling energy, because if you feel like you're in conflict with someone, which I don't feel like I'm in conflict with anybody. My door is always open. I love all you guys. It doesn't matter who you are, how you know me. I never close my door, man. If you want to talk to me, give me a call. I'll talk to you. All right? My door's always open. Tower. It's a good first card, don't you think? Everyone's on their hairs on fire. I love this card. This is like one of my favorite cards. Everyone's got their hair on fire. This is Tower moment, right? Because change is escalating, and you can feel that change is escalating. Oh, that's a nice card. 6 of Cups. I like that card. 2 Wands. So there is a decision to be made after the 6 of Cups shows up. So we got the Tower moment. There's a Tower moment, and somebody makes an offer, and trying to make a decision. Doesn't look like we're going to make a decision right away. It's going to take a little while, right? 2 of Swords. Oh, but that's good. And these fell on the ground, so I'm not going to consider to be anything. That makes sense. And at the bottom of the deck, we got the Moon card. So we still have some work to do some decisions to make, but it all turns out good, right? This is the final card here. Our Ace of Cups. Everything turns out well. So tower moments, constantly, you're always going through tower moments. Tower moments, especially now, I don't care. There are, some people are in comfortable positions right now where they're not going through tower moments. But the group consciousness is getting forced to go through tower moments. I mean, we just had a school shooting, right? Nobody likes to see school shootings. I got kids in school. For all of you out there, tower moments are learning. They're not only learning lessons, but they make you more self-aware of how you're interacting with your environment, teaching you that the whole journey that you're on is teaching you how to transmute negative energy. Because when you're in a tower moment, you're usually thinking negatively about whatever is happening to you. And don't ever do that, right? Even though, like the post that I made yesterday, even if it could be seen as saying, okay, he's thinking negatively about maybe the people around him and they're not helping him. But the reality is nothing is actually negative. We're all moving towards growth. You can say that you're moving away, and some people may move away a little bit in this lifetime. But even if it looks like nobody's growing, everyone's growing a little bit. I've never met anybody that didn't grow in their lifetime. I was actually talking to one of my good buddies about this last night, and he was talking about his dad when he was younger, and his dad was terrible when he was younger, but now his dad's super supportive. His dad's a wonderful guy. So that's just that's life, right? You go through tower moments, but you can escalate change. You can, I should say, accelerate change by just go ahead and just jumping off that cliff and taking a leap of faith. Taking a leap of faith will always force you to grow faster than anything else, hands down. Because you have to have faith that God's got your back, the universe has got your back, whatever you want to call it. I always call it Father, because and that's the way that the Bible's written. How you make man and then took woman out of man. And the reason for that is, structure moves energy. When you're talking about energy, you're not talking about structure. But whenever you're talking about structure, the male portion, it has to include energy, because one can't exist without the other, and it's moving a specific amount of energy. So when you're talking about male energy, you're talking about a specific amount of energy. When you're talking about energy, you don't really know how much energy you're talking about, if that makes any sense. Because there's no structure. You're not assigning it with structure. Hope that makes sense. But all of us have male and female energy. So I'm not trying to differentiate between men and women, right? Men have female and male energy. Women have female and male energy. So it's not like, and as long as you're balanced, then it doesn't matter what sex you are. That's just a physical manifestation of, and your physical manifestation might not even indicate, which one you're more attuned to. In a lot of ways, in my whole life, I've been more attuned to feminine energy, just because I'm so sensitive. I'm so sensitive. And so for a lot of people, and this is true for, many people, pure masculine energy is just out there, go get it, You're just constantly go, go, go. Feminine energy is more waiting and, more supportive, more nurturing. But when you're in your, and women are much more sensitive, more intuitive. So, you have both sides. That's all I'm trying to say. So before I go, let's get a little bit more information on this Ace of Cups, right? We got to know what the outcome is here on the Ace of Cups. We went through our tower. Somebody's going to come in and make an offer, and then we have to make a decision, which we're probably going to get locked in indecision, it looks like. That's too bad. But, see how that works out. And then there's more work to do. We're kind of looking at our labors, but we realize that we still got more work to do. So let's go. Let's see what we got going on here. I like this card. The Hermit, Solitude. Really? More Hermit energy? Could be, you know. After there's, you know, you work for a while, sometimes you have some Hermit energy. And then Manifestation. It's good. Hermit and then Manifestation. That actually is a really good pair for the Ace of Cups, you know, because you're always following your inner light. The Hermit card is an excellent card. This card isn't like that. Let's do an Oracle card to end the day. Balance. Seek balance. Have to seek balance, right? Don't ever get too excited about anything. You know, if you can, as long as you can remain balanced, you know, take care of yourself, take care of your relationships, make sure that you're supporting the people around you as best you can, and, you know, in your workplace, just maintain balance, right? Don't, if you try and overdo it, then you're just gonna end up hating life, and you'll push yourself to a boundary, and then you'll crash, and you'll be out for a week. So, love you guys, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.